Hip-hop is dying, but not at all in the way you think. While some people have been saying it is finally the end of hip-hop's reign on top of the music world, this is just wrong. Rap is not going extinct or even declining at all, but what's actually happening is something more important. There is a major storm brewing in the hip-hop world, and just as the genre turns 50 years old, it's about to go through its biggest revolution yet. Brace yourself as we find out why hip-hop is about to change forever and music will never be the same because of it. Now, let's be clear. The only part of hip-hop that is dying right now is the creatively bankrupt and inorganically trendy tracks that many artists are just trying to get a quick bag off. As more listeners get fed up with hearing the same type of tracks over and over again, the market for this bland type of material is fizzling out, and as the trendy waves many have tried to ride out dry up, something much more important is soaking in. Over the past few years, something has changed in hip-hop. While many artists have followed the time's trends, the rappers at the very top have done something much different. Many of hip-hop's greatest creative minds have spent the past few years doing something that no group of artists have ever collectively pulled off. Not just in hip-hop, but in any music genre, we have never seen so much high-profile talent challenge the genre's status quo. From lyrical shifts to sonic experimentation, the one force binding together hip-hop's most prominent acts is the ability to subvert expectations and impact audiences in ways that were simply unimaginable. Welcome to the next chapter of hip-hop, the creative renaissance. Now, to understand how this new chapter of hip-hop is about to impact the genre in ways we have never seen, we need to look back at what got us to this point in the first place. Experimentation in hip-hop is nothing new, but throughout rap's history, when a big artist has tried to step out of the box, it would almost always end up in them receiving a ton of hate for going so far away from the accepted styles and sounds at the time. Elite MCs like Mos Def, Common, and Q-Tip were criticized for stepping out of their comfort zones and releasing experimental albums, both by fans who felt betrayed and record labels who were mad that their money wasn't coming in, and this trend would only continue as time went on. One of the biggest instances of this was when Kanye West released 808s and Heartbreaks in 2008, as many people turned their back on the album and Ye as a whole entirely, as the spacey melodies and glitchy production was so abstract at the time. While as the years went on and artists like Kid Cudi and later on Travis Scott and Lil Uzi Vert became popular, the sound and vision of 808s became more accepted by the people. This record was one of the few boundary-pushing efforts to ever receive the flowers it truly deserved. When we look at the creative renaissance in hip-hop right now, it's easy to see that Kanye West is the godfather of this movement, but not because of his work on 808s and Heartbreak. While 808s did go against the grain and trailblaze an entire new era, the album that truly redefined how a major-level artist can go about creating music was Kanye's 2013 album Yeezus, which, if you thought the reception to 808s was bad, it was nothing compared to the hate Yeezus got. Straight off the releases of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and Watch the Throne, Kanye was at the height of his popularity, and with the entire world waiting to see what he would do next, people did not hold back on how much they hated this highly experimental and unconventional album.
Do you not like the reception Jesus has gotten? Cause I didn't like the album at all, and I was a Kanye West fan.
Yeah.
But Jesus was whack to me.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
While the larger audience of listeners and personalities did not appreciate Kanye's most abrasive and chaotic record, as you can see, many artists didn't just love the album, but they were inspired deeply by Yeezus. With Kanye West flipping off the status quo, he set a new precedent for how ambitious rappers can get with their music, and from here, hip-hop would get weird. A lot of popular artists would release their own highly experimental albums after Yeezus, including Tyler the Creator with Cherry Bomb, Kid Cudi with Speeding Bullet to Heaven, and Childish Gambino with Awaken My Love, and while these albums all varied drastically in quality, the one takeaway at the time was that big-name hip-hop artists were no longer afraid to step out of the box and try something that may just set the music world on fire. While in the grander scheme of the genre at the time, hip-hop was not ready for this wave of creativity, things would quickly ramp up around the end of the 2010s. 2018 was the first year the creative revolution gained the traction to start an entire new era of hip-hop, when A$AP Rocky would shock the world with his long-awaited third studio album, Testing. From the album's name to its hazardous branding, Testing was Rocky's most experimental and boundary-pushing record, and even Rocky went as far to call it his own version of Yeezus. While the album certainly divided audiences with its grittier and unpolished aesthetic, for all the people it turned off, it seemed like there were even more listeners enjoying this new version of A$AP Rocky, and with somebody of his stature taking such a creative risk yet sticking the landing, it only opened up the possibilities for more artists to reinvent themselves in the future. As 2019 came around, we entered the defining year for this new movement as Tyler the Creator released Igor. Fusing together hip-hop with neo-soul and birthing an entirely new sound to the music world, Igor proved that hip-hop fans are not afraid to step out of their comfort zone as long as the music is compelling enough. If you don't believe me, this was directly expressed commercially as Igor beat out DJ Khaled's Father of Assad for the top spot on the Billboard chart when they came out. While Khaled's album was filled to the brim with A-list features from the likes of Jay-Z, Travis Scott, and more, while also riding every single popular musical trend at the time, the general consensus enjoyed the adventurous direction Tyler steered his artistry in, and this risk would end up giving him his first Grammy for Best Rap Album. With Tyler the Creator's abstract sound drawing in more interest than the latest collabs between the biggest rappers in the world, many artists, including DJ Khaled, took this as a threat and tried to denounce the creative revolution brewing with responses like this.
I say this too. I make albums so people can play it and you actually hear it. You know, driving your car, you hear another car playing it. You know, go to the barbershop, you hear them playing it. You know, turn the radio on and you hear them playing it. You know, it's playing everywhere. It's called great music. It's called albums that you actually hear the songs. Not no mysterious shit and you never hear it. On your dome.
Ultimately, these attempts at trying to diminish these bold new creative experiences would backfire, as Khaled and many artists like him have only seen declining sales since this turning point. With the critical and commercial success of Igor, this album would speed up the charge of hip-hop's creative takeover, as beyond the example it set for the industry, Tyler the Creator would show two talented young artists just how special they really are. On the record's first two songs, Igor's Theme and Earthquake, Lil Uzi Vert and Playboi Carti were both highlighted as some of the best parts of the record. Both received worldwide praise for how they were able to come out of their comfort zone and perform so well in this dazzling world that Tyler thought out, and following this, Playboi Carti would quickly go on to create the next major industry-changing riff. After seeing how far he could push himself with Tyler, Carti would push himself in an even crazier direction with his 2020 album Whole Lotta Red. With aggressive instrumentals and some of the most unique yet commanding vocals in all of hip-hop, Playboi Carti would not just garner new levels of success with this genre-defying effort, but would also start an entirely new wave of hip-hop with rage music. With Kanye West executive producing Whole Lotta Red, this was really a full-circle moment for the ground he had laid out on Yeezus all those years ago, and with the growing success and praise of albums like Testing, Igor, and Whole Lotta Red, things were only bound to get better from here, and they sure did. As hip-hop moved into the 2020s, there were two artists whose next albums were more anticipated than anyone else: Kendrick Lamar and Travis Scott. In 2022, after a 5-year hiatus, Kendrick Lamar made his return to the rap world, and the unimaginable happened. Kendrick's fifth studio album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, would completely reshape the renowned hip-hop artist's image through its brutally honest depiction of Kendrick. Kendrick was no longer interested in making worldwide hits like Humble or Alright, or presenting himself as some sort of savior, but instead was interested in showing us a rawer and honest version of himself. Through the grittier sound and structure of Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, Kendrick would go on to have one of the most successful chapters of his career. From a Grammy win for Best Rap Album to the highest grossing hip-hop tour of all time, what Kendrick showed with this artistic reinvention is that the rewards for pulling off these creative stunts are greater than ever, and this is held true for all of these artists. In the process of revolutionizing their artistry, Playboi Carti and Tyler the Creator have also created not just massive fan fan bases, but entire cultures around them that celebrate the one-of-a-kind musicality and showmanship that they bring to the table. While most labels and industry executives are still forcing artists to use the same set of trap beats and TikTok trends to blow up, in an era where artists like Lil Baby and DaBaby are canceling shows because of low ticket sales, it speaks volumes that people are flooding some of the biggest arenas in the world to hear the one-of-a-kind experiences that artists like Kendrick, Cardi, and Tyler put together live. The proof of this movement taking over is all right there, and adding even more fuel to this revolution and pushing hip-hop right into the next generation. Travis Scott brings together this spectacle and creativity all together on the biggest album of 2023, Utopia. With Travis Scott releasing an experimental album and having it perform with the record-breaking numbers it did cements hip-hop's creative revolution as something underway right now at this current moment. Utopia embodies all the aspects of what artists like Kanye, Cardi, Tyler, and Kendrick have been building up to for so long, and puts it all together to not just uplift Travis Scott himself, but hip-hop as a whole. Hip-hop's creativity from the A-list to the underground has never been rewarded more in one space than on Utopia. Travis Scott has not just pushed himself and the A-list into this new era where they can do anything they want and they are getting praised for making some of the most thrilling creative experiences on the market, but he has pushed rap into the next era by featuring rappers who have helped shape the underground into the thriving ecosystem of fine art that it is, like Westside Gunn and Young Lean. Travis has brought more attention to the rest of what is going on in hip-hop now beyond the surface, by now interconnecting the A-list of rap with subgenres like cloud rap and abstract hip-hop. The exciting material that rap has to offer to the masses is greater than ever, and this will allow for the creative revolution to thrive. All in all, looking at these landmark moments, we can see hip-hop is changing right in front of our eyes, and we are about to enter a new era that will prioritize the art over anything else. Beyond the artists I mentioned, we have already seen other heavyweights follow in their footsteps, including Lil Yachty as he infused SoundCloud rap with psychedelic rock on the beautifully memorizing Let's Start Here, and also Lil Uzi Vert, who has spun his own take on the rage sound Cardi popularized with the Pink Tape. Even Drake, for how vanilla he plays it always, he did step outside of his comfort zone with Honestly Nevermind as he infused house and hip-hop, and no matter how many of these albums you can say you enjoyed, you can't deny that they are changing the landscape of music and bringing back creativity to the forefront of the hip-hop ecosystem. So when we look at the current state of hip-hop and see so many rappers on the A-list pushing the genre forward and challenging the conventions of what's accepted, and beyond this receive more acclaim and praise from fans than ever as a result, it is clear that hip-hop is about to change forever and we are entering a creative renaissance. Let me know your thoughts. Is hip-hop about to enter a creative golden age, and how soon before we see all of the premier experiences in the genre come with the same level of passion that albums like Utopia and Igor have? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe. It is free to do and it helps me out a ton. Thank you all for watching. Your support means everything. Mr. F, Fantastic Hip Hop, signing out. Catch you in the next video.